such a challenge to put a game plan against them?
Really smart, play physical. They've got great experience. They've got tremendous ball skills, really the both of them. You know, Marcus Peters, he's got a lot of pick sixes over his career. Marlon Humphrey, not only does he intercept the ball, but he does a great job of punching it out, as we've seen firsthand over the years. And you know, so again, they've got a lot of experience back there. Chuck Clark as well has played a lot of football for them. You know, and obviously adding the other safety to the equation as well. It's an experienced group, and they're really good, and we've got our work cut out for us.
You mentioned their safety tandem with Williams and Hamilton and Clark. I mean, how does that kind of change the math when you have those two talented corners with those guys over the top, and especially with Hamilton, that they can kind of move kind of all around the defense?
Yeah, you know, and Brandon Stevens, you know, he's done a nice job for him too, playing that nickel spot, particularly in this last game. So again, it's a good group. They've also got experienced backers in there, you know, as well with Bynes and Patrick Queen. Those guys have you know, been playing together for a couple years now. So it's a really overall experienced group, veteran group. They've injected some younger talent into the picture as well, like you mentioned with Kyle Hamilton and some of the young D linemen they got too. So it's a good defense.
What are you seeing on the offensive line? Joe's talking about how good the line blocked for him the last game. Is it sight lines? Is it passing lanes? What has improved?
You know, I think they've been playing well for the last couple of weeks. It's again, the sack is not a reflection always on the offensive linemen, so they always get the heat for it. I've seen some really positive things, you know, going back several weeks now. So to me, that's not really a new. They've been playing well. We got a good mix of guys in there. They're doing a good job communicating, passing things off together. I thought the backs had a great week in protection last week as well. So it's all part of the picture, obviously, and just really excited about what we've got going on in that room.
How is, kind of a simple question, but how has Burrow played this season? And what have been your impressions of Burrow this year, maybe compared to, he's had 2 previous good years, but compared to his previous years?
You know, I think he's doing everything we need him to do to be successful for us this year. So he's a guy that we all believe in, and I think he's operating at a very high level.
Is there a difference in his game?
I don't get into the comparisons from previous years. I just look at him this year. He's doing everything we need to do to win. He's brought us back now in 2 games, the first 2 games of the season, put us in a position to go win both those games, and then obviously played well enough to get us the 2 victories in the last 2 weeks. So he's doing what we need to get from him.
Speaking of Burrow, I mean, you know, obviously he launched his foundation. What do you make of that, and just how proud and impressed are you with, you know, what he's been doing with his efforts?
Yeah, well, his character matches his on-field talents, and you know, that's something I've seen from him firsthand. You know, in public ways that you guys have seen, and in private ways as well. You know, when he's had opportunity to bring up topics in front of people who are influential, he's done it. And so, again, I think that's what people need to understand about him. It's just not just, and I don't think people think it is, it's not just a public perception. It's what he does behind the scenes as well. He's 100% genuine. He 100% cares about people, particularly people in Ohio, people in the region that he's from. And so I think it's tremendous for him to take those steps to impact people in any way that he can.
Along those lines, Zach, one thing Joe Mixon said the other day is Joe Burrow in the huddle is something you guys don't see. He's the ultimate leader, always has the right call at the right time in a big moment. What is it about him in those moments that makes him such a great leader?
You know, I try not to be a part of those. You know, it's even when we're in a walkthrough and we're calling a play, I do my best to give them that huddle space to themselves and not be overbearing that way.
Do you sense it, though?
Of course. I mean, you sense it in every way that he operates. And so it's no surprise that when all eyes are on him in the huddle, that he takes full command of it and gets everyone to believe that whatever's about to come out of his mouth is going to be impactful and positive. And I think that's held up in every way you can imagine.
Is it important for you as a head coach to have one voice that's a leader on the field, or does it work where there's multiple guys with significant input?
Multiple. You know, it doesn't have to be on one guy's shoulders all the time. And obviously as the quarterback, that's what you sign up for, and it's going to fall on your shoulders more times than not. But at the same time, you got to have other voices that can pull together their particular position room or in that moment, it doesn't always have to be Joe speaking up. It can be Ted, it can be Mixon, it can be TB, it can be all the guys we got. And it has been at times. And so I think that's important for the unit to have multiple leaders. But at the end of the day, all eyes are on the quarterback, and he's got to be the one to take command.
Does the extra rest help LC's back? Do you think he could be and start practicing earlier on in the week?
Well, I think the decision we're going to make is, especially in the short term, is Wednesdays with the vet days. So he'll still be out there, but not going on Wednesdays and then practicing on Thursdays and Fridays. So I like where he's at right now. I think that Thursday night game came at a good time for a lot of guys, and so some of the veterans, we got to make those decisions on in the early parts of the week.
You made those roster moves with Kim. Excited to get him back kind of in the mix and then
Yep.
bring him back in practice as well.
Yep. So we activated the 21-day window on Khalid Kareem and Cam Taylor Britt, so they can start practicing today and participate in the walkthroughs and doing all that stuff. And so particularly for week one, it's get them back into the flow of playing football. I think they're both in really good shape. They've they had to be out the 4 weeks obviously because of the IR, but I think that they're in a really good spot physically. Now it's just getting back into hearing the play calls and participating in the defense and special teams and getting back into the flow of things that way.
What does it do for a defense when you have a linebacker like Logan who can make a pick 30 yards downfield and make a solo tackle by himself to get your defense off the field?
He's a great player. He's a tremendous player, and again, he can make plays all over the field. I think him and Jermaine are a really great duo. They communicate. They play off each other really well. They're both high-level players, and it's just overall, it's a really good room. It starts with those two guys, obviously, but it's a really good room overall.
Zach, Burrow talked at length about concussions and kind of some of the things about it, just big picture stuff. When you look at it, how much maybe is it the team's responsibility or coach's responsibility at times to make sure that you're protecting guys from themselves, whether they may get their bell rung and say, hey, even though you feel like you can go back in, it's probably need to go ahead and sit you out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that happens all the time, and that happened with T in the first game. Was that Pittsburgh? T probably felt good enough to go in, and that's just a decision the doctor's got to make. You follow protocol that's in place, and again, those are just you follow the protocols and protect the players.
How different is the Baltimore Ravens defense schematically and executing under Mike McDonald's as opposed to Donald Martindale?
Yeah, there's still a lot of similarities there. It's early in the season, so again, once you get a bigger sample size, it maybe some things will show up, but you see a lot of similarities from things that they've done in the past. They've got some new players maybe that play a little bit more for them this year. But again, overall, I think it's a really good unit. They put pressure on the opposing team. They're going to put pressure on you. They're going to mix up their coverages, mix up their pressures. And so I think it's overall a good unit, well coached, and it's a good challenge for us.
Zach, how much did it help to have faced Lamar in person a few times with the guys that have been here a while and make that marriage between the film and what you see in person? How much does it help, if at all, to have at least experienced it a few times?
It doesn't hurt, certainly, to have seen it in person because he's such a dynamic player in every way that you could explain it. And so, again, it's a good thing that you've played against him. You felt the speed firsthand. You felt the accuracy firsthand. You felt the playmaking firsthand. But it's another thing to go out there again and try to stop it and limit them. And he's just one of the most dynamic players in the league.
How do you replicate that in practice?
You do what you can, and we've had different guys over the years. I think Puka did it last year for us. So again, we'll work through this week how we want to replicate that.
Who's going to be Lamar?
We'll see. Yeah.
Are there multiple guys with their hands up wanting to be Lamar? Is that like?
I don't know that. I haven't gotten that. We've identified who it's going to be, and I don't know that there was a lot of lobbying going on. We didn't ask for it.
What's the key to defending unscripted explosion when you can do anything? You don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah. Again, I think our guys have always bought into the plan that we've had, over the years with guys that can affect you with their feet. The difficult thing with Lamar is he's such a talented passer, and he's got pinpoint accuracy. He's got a really strong arm. He can throw from any body position. You can blitz him, and he can be drifting backwards, and he can throw it 45 yards down the field for a big play. He can throw it across the field for a big play. He's got a real knack for where his guys are. So again, there's more challenges sometimes that meet the eye just because of all the things that he's capable of. And again, we just got to play really solid, all 11 on that side of the ball, being in phase with each other, with the communication. And I wish I had the perfect answer for how to stop him. We'd be doing it, but he's a tremendous player that poses a lot of challenges.
Lamar said that last year they did briefly, because you guys scored on, they tripled all three of your receivers, and he had never seen that before. Are there things that defenses will throw at you, like, they make you go, that's a little strange, or that's a little more rare than you've seen? I mean, is there something that makes you pause and go, oh, didn't expect that? You know, like, at this point especially, I mean, I guess, you know, as you kind of gain experience, maybe not, but I'm just kind of curious when, you know, teams or defense break something out and you go, huh, no, didn't really expect that one, or didn't expect
I think we're past the level of unexpected. You know, at this point, we've all been in the NFL long enough. We've seen everything. And so, you know, rarely does something come across on any side of the ball that hasn't been seen by someone over the last 10 years probably. So, again, you got to be ready to adapt to however teams decide to play you. And again, we always want to be attacking on our side of the ball as well and have things that they got to be prepared for to see in the game as well. So that's part of the preparation that goes on during the week, and that's the exciting part about Sunday is just seeing how it unfolds.
What have you seen from Akeem Davis-Gaither over the past few weeks?
Yeah, you know, he's played a good amount of snaps, particularly in that Jets game. Not as much last week, but again, he plays his role. He does a great job. And we got a lot of faith in there, whether he's playing 15 snaps or 50 snaps. You know, he's a guy that's experienced in the system. He's a confident player. He's got great athleticism. He's playing really physical. He's got good ball skills. And again, he contributes on special teams as well. So he's a guy that I always think continues to ascend, and I've seen that from him this year.
What's it been like to see that transformation in your run defense from 2019, that first season, to what it looks like now?
You know, that's critical. Obviously, we've continued to grow in the scheme. We've continued to add players. You know, how many guys from 2019? I guess we're talking probably Sam, Josh, Jesse, Brandon, 4. Jermaine was there. So, you know, it's again, guys have really bought in. Guys are playing off of each other. They're not just selfishly, I should say, trying to make plays and get out of their gaps and trying to make those explosive plays. They're relying on their teammates. They're believing in the scheme that's called, and it allows us to play really, really sound defense.
Jack, how do you feel about your offense in the red zone right now? Are there areas that you want to see them improve still?
I want to see us score more points. You know, every time we're down there, we need to be scoring 7. And so, you know, to get down there on the inch-yard line and kick a field goal, obviously we want to be able to punch that in.
How much of that is just, on your end at times, being creative, being deceptive? I mean, how does that play out?
Yeah, a big part of it, you know, is having the right plan in place that the players can go execute and get the ball in the end zone.
Back to your run defense. When you lose a guy like DJ, is it, you know, a group of guys even at different positions stepping up and kind of filling those roles? Is that how you replace a guy like DJ?
I'm careful to say that because you really don't want guys going outside of what they've been doing. You know, it's important for Josh and Zach and those guys to step up and fill that void in terms of lining up and playing good, solid football. You don't want guys to say, hey, now because DJ, who's one of the premier players at his position in the NFL, is out, everyone needs to go outside of the framework of the defense. And so I think our guys have done a good job of that. And they played good ball in the last game and a half since DJ's been out. We'll be thrilled, you know, at the time when he comes back because, again, he's irreplaceable in that sense. But I think our guys have just done a good job of doing what they're capable of doing and not going outside the framework of what we're asking them to do.
You mentioned it was kind of difficult to replicate Lamar in practice, but the offense as a whole, is it difficult to replicate that considering it's a bit more unique to what, you know, I guess the NFL as a whole is kind of running right now?
You know, they've got a plethora of tight ends and fullbacks that they utilize, and you don't see that every week, you know, that the way they can utilize those guys and how explosive they can be down the field and with all the stuff they do in the run game and the play action. So it's certainly a challenging offense to prepare for.